Hi there, this is Dr. Sydney Banyai, Democratic nominee for U.S. House of Representatives, Florida 19, and this is Perspective on Lee Pitts Live. This episode, we're going to be talking about climate change and what it means for Southwest Florida. Whether politicians want to believe it or not, we are experiencing climate change and human activity is behind it. In this episode, we will look at the effects of climate change, how we will be affected, as well as the actions that are being taken to combat it. According to the United Nations, climate change refers to the long-term shifts in temperature and weather patterns. These shifts may be natural, but since the 1880s, human activities have been the main driver of climate change. And this is primarily due to the burning of fossil fuels like coal, oil, and gas, which produces heat-trapping gases. There is no debate among scientists that climate change is real. It is happening and getting worse. There is also no debate that humans are driving climate change. Global warming and sea level rise are part of climate change. According to Climate Change Central, a climate change think tank, Florida will see more days over 90 degrees, more mosquitoes from hurricanes and rains, as well as more humidity from rising dew points. The Florida Oceans and Coastal Council points that rising sea temperatures are stressing coral reefs, increasing harmful algal blooms that have human health consequences, and they're killing off sponges and seagrasses, seagrass being the main food for our beloved manatees. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the IPCC, which is part of the United Nations and was established in the 1980s to compile research and report on climate change to help governments around the world. In their 2022 report, they noted that even if global warming is limited to 1.5 degrees Celsius, so that's a 1 degree Celsius rise, human life, safety, and livelihoods across North America, and especially in coastal areas like right here in Florida, will be placed at risk for sea level rise, severe storms, and hurricanes. These rising sea temperatures will also negatively affect fish, causing shifts in where they can be found and fished, as well as damaging our food supplies and the tourism market that love to come here to Florida and fish. According to NASA, sea levels have risen 4 inches since 1983, and this is being driven by melting Arctic sea ice, which has decreased by 13% since 1979. The Environmental Protection Agency, which is a federal agency that is tasked with protecting our environment, has reported that along the Atlantic and Gulf coast of Florida, the land surface is sinking. If the ocean and atmosphere continue to warm, sea level along the Florida coast is likely to rise 1 to 4 feet in the next century. This rising sea level will submerge wetlands and drylands, erode beaches, and exacerbate the coastal flooding. This means that where we are living now has a good chance of being underwater in the not so distant future. The U.S. organization, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Agency, NOAA, or NOAA, is part of the U.S. Department of Commerce, and it forecasts weather and protects marine mammals and endangered species in the United States. A 2022 NOAA prediction states that Southwest Florida will see daily tidal floods by 2100. So that's in less than 80 years from now. These tidal floods will damage streets, backup sewers, and septic systems, and we're talking about poop running through the streets here, folks, right here in Southwest Florida. Changes in the typical weather pattern are also part of climate change. And there are places that used to see less rain are seeing more rain, and places that are dry are seeing more rain overall. So more rain in places where it didn't have it, and less rain in places that had it. And this rain, this new rain that's coming down, can overwhelm the land and infrastructure and cause property damage or even death. We just saw this in the August flooding in Kentucky, where 38 people died because of the historic rains that were happening, and that caused flash flooding and overwhelmed their system, hurting people and family homes. The western United States has also been experiencing droughts and threatening freshwater supplies. This is particularly affecting places in California and Las Vegas. Dry conditions are also leading to intensifying wildfires. These kill people, destroy homes, as well as contaminating our air and freshwater supplies, which have a negative effect on human health. So what is being done to protect people from the existential threat of climate change? Sadly, not enough. But there are some global and national efforts. The Paris Agreement is an international treaty on climate change that has been adopted by 196 countries in 2015. And this covers climate change and climate change mitigation, adaptation, and financing of those initiatives. Initially, the United States entered the Paris Climate Agreement under President Obama. Donald Trump left the agreement, and President Biden subsequently, immediately upon his presidency, re-entered this very important international treaty. The goal of the Paris Climate Agreement is to limit well below 2 degrees Celsius the rise, and preferably only to 1.5 degrees Celsius compared to pre-industrial levels. Now, this is important for us to avoid the most catastrophic predictions of climate change. However, the way that each country addresses climate change is up to themselves. So each country is coming up with their own strategy, and the United States is in the process of implementing some of that strategy. Recently, the United States Senate, and hopefully soon the House, has passed the Inflation Reduction Act. This will help to finance many aspects in the United States addressing climate change, including providing tax breaks for electric vehicles and energy efficient home upgrades. Additional policies that could be applied in the United States or around the world can be found in institutions and projects like Project Drawdown that offers data-backed climate change solutions. And these solutions include addressing global abject poverty, investing in women and girls, reducing food waste, promoting plant-rich diets, refrigerant management, tropical forest reforestation, that's putting more trees back into tropical areas, wind turbines, and more. And you should check them out at projectdrawdown.com. We all want to live in a clean and healthy world. And we want our children and grandchildren to be able to enjoy their lives on this planet. With the growing concerns of climate change, especially here in Florida, that future is at risk. We must have policymakers that are willing to take on climate change. This is a problem for us here in Southwest Florida because so many of our officials, like Byron Donalds, don't even believe in climate change. And they take special interest money from big polluters, including oil companies. How can we expect them to have our futures and our best interests in mind when they're working for them? This has been Dr. Cindy Banyai, Democratic nominee for U.S. House of Representatives, Florida 19, and this has been Perspective on Lee Pitts Live. Now back to Lee Pitts.
I'm Dr. Cindy Banyai, Democratic candidate for U.S. House of Representatives, Florida Congressional District 19. I'm a teacher and small business owner. I'm fighting for the things we need: clean water, good health, and good jobs. I'm here with you and for you. Let's create a Southwest Florida where the sun shines on everyone. Send me to Congress to work for you. Check your voter registration and vote for me, Dr. Cindy Banyai.
I'm Cindy Banyai and I approve this message.
Lee Pitts Live is a Lee Pitts Enterprise production.
Hello everybody, this is Lee. I'm so glad that you watched that particular show, and if you enjoyed that show, we got other shows like that. Just subscribe to our YouTube channel, watch Lee Pitts Live on demand anytime, and also hit us up on all our social media platforms. Just type in Lee Pitts Live and there you go.